Hello everyone, TLSG here, back again with a Marvel Snap live stream. I can't use my common introduction of daily because I have been pretty inconsistent with my live streams. I've been trying to figure out where the best platform to continually do these is, because sometimes it'll be late at night, I can't sleep, and I just want to stream for a little bit. And it's really hard to do that with YouTube because then it'll stop pushing the current video. So I'm gonna be messing around on Twitch for just a little while. For anybody that jumped over and joined us, thank you guys for being here. We are going to try out a couple of different decks. We're going to try out a little bit different of a format than we normally do. So it may be that I eventually consolidate my deck spotlights into the live streams so that I can do both a little bit more efficiently. But we're still kind of tweaking and messing around with it. Thank you everybody that jumped over, and then Trav Diddy, thank you so much for the follow. So we're gonna go ahead and jump into a few games. Trav Diddy,
hey, welcome. It took you long enough.
Thank you so much for the Prime sub as well. That's very much appreciated. And then Manor Boy, let's go. Thank you so much for being over here. I hope that you're having a fantastic day so far.
Oh, snap.
And then Mochi, thank you so much for the Prime sub as
welcome.
well.
It took you long
Very
enough.
much appreciated. And so I have a couple of different decks that I want to try out today. And this first one it's a little bit spicy of a take on the kind of She-Hulk Infinite Moon Girl playline because it has a few elements of like a clog style deck. Sorry, I missed anything you said. I was busy with an ad from Cocaine Bear. Trav Diddy. I thought the pre-rolls were supposed to be turned off. I apologize that you got hit with an ad. I'm still trying to figure... I wish I could just turn off the ads altogether. I don't typically like to run them midstream. But I just welcomed you in. Thank you for the... thank you for the Prime sub. And thank you for being over here. Seems like a great movie. Yeah, I saw the ad. I was checking out a few of the streams over here earlier, and I saw it a couple of times myself. It does look like it's going to be an interesting one. So today's deck, it has elements of like a junk deck, which I really enjoyed junk decks. And then Hink, thank you so much for the follow. So it has, and actually we may turn off the follower notification. Since we just jumped over here, it might go off several times. So it has elements of like a junk style deck, while retaining the ability to do a big last turn kind of burst of power. They have Nightcrawler that they'll be able to move out of the Shadowlands. I think we're gonna ramp up with our Psylocke. We can do magic on 4. On 5, we can do something like Titanium Green Goblin to try to cap them out of a location. Hink, imagine streaming in Twitch instead of YouTube. Hink, thank you so much for jumping over. I don't know. I don't know where, like, our long term. I don't know where we'll end up. It's something that I'm still testing out. I'm still really new to content creation and streaming, and I want to be able to do consistent streams. And I feel like there's constant strife with YouTube and worrying about, is it going to start? The question is, who am I? Hink, the Dutch guy. I don't know. Who are you? Who are you? I'm assuming that you're typically pretty active in either the Discord or the YouTube chat. But I didn't think about it until now. But there's that constant like kind of worry or debate of, is it negatively impacting the video's performance if I launch a stream on YouTube just because I wanted to, do a late night impromptu stream a couple hours after reset. Active in both is indeed correct. Hink the Dutch. Oh, there it is. It's Sasuke. The budget Mjolnir says it all. A Rebel Spy. So the other day I'm on YouTube and it recommends me one of your videos. I sub, it's good stuff. Then I recognize the name. I play you all the time, A Rebel Spy. I feel like we played very constantly, or very consistently. I think we send them the Titania with the Sunspot instead of the Green Goblin. We just send them the Green Goblin in the sewer system. I think that's going to be our safest play line. Then we can always skip on 6 into an Infinite on turn 7. And for any of you guys that do watch on both, please let me know how you like the Twitch over the YouTube. it's something that I've went back and forth on, and I can't tell which one's going to be best long term. So they're capped out in limbo. Oh, but we actually have to overcome quite a bit of power there. They can move their Nightcrawler. They have a pretty low amount of power here. We could skip, let Sunspot absorb. We'd have to hope that we got the 1 out of 3 for She-Hulk, which is not great. Since we didn't leave a spot for our Boomerang Titania to come back. You have a bigger view count on YouTube? Yeah. Yeah, and that's kind of to be expected. It's something that I would have to kind of overcome. Oh, Gonsman, I was probably playing too slow for him. But we get the first win out of the way. The post on YouTube was smart. That's why I knew you were on Twitch at the moment. Yeah, I figured because my viewer base is on YouTube. But at the same time, I kind of like the division between live stream content and like structured deck spotlights and videos. That way each one can kind of do their own thing and they can kind of stand on their own merits, and then they kind of start at some point cross-promoting each other. But I don't know. It's something that I would definitely need to get more consistent at streaming. And consistent streaming is something that I definitely want to jump back into. All right, so we're going to go ahead and I'm getting 5 ads. Oh no, Hink the Dutch guy. I thought I had them turned off. We have the oh, gotcha. 5 30-second ads. My gosh, okay. That's Sasuke, okay. Let's see. It looks like I can start snoozing the ads. I apologize. The midstream ads take away the pre-roll ads. Oh, wow, and that just like tank the viewers. Okay. Is there a way to turn off ads altogether? Can I do remove ads? I know that they kind of force the ads on you. Hinks the Dutch guy will be renamed in ads guy. Yeah, you're definitely taking a hit there. And so I think I turned them off. I think I turned the scheduled ads off on ad 5 from 5 now. Well, I think after this, almost able to watch the stream again. I think after this, they shouldn't run. I think the pre-rolls will be off for a couple of, it looks like for 30 minutes, and then the rest should be gone. Herman, hey man, loving your work, even if I'm stuck in the 60s, in the 60s this season. I feel like as it gets later on in the season, it gets easier to climb. So don't get too hung up that you're stuck right now. Just try and experiment. Use your new cards, find what you like and what resonates with you. We have plenty of time to climb still. If you're wanting to climb, just find what works best for you. I think you'll get there. But I'm glad that you're enjoying the content. And then Bread, welcome. I'm so glad you were able to jump over and join us. And so we're gonna send the Green Goblin in Jotunheim. Let it just continually get hit. Morag will be able to do something pretty big with the She-Hulk and the Infinite. If we do Moon Girl here, it's not going to hit our She-Hulk, unfortunately. We might still do it. Just for the power. Next turn we can do magic into the Warrior Fall location. We can skip on 5. The biggest issue I've found with this deck and running it consistently is that it's very susceptible to like arrow and some of those misdirect plays. And then if the opponent is running something that can either clear up the junk that you send them, it loses a lot of its potency. And so they're running the Sarah Tech deck, which is pretty strong right now, especially over the different various versions. I still think we skip here. We won't draw anything on the last turn. We'll be able to do She-Hulk and Infinite, which may or may not be enough. We have a decent lead in Jotunheim. Axum, how's it going? Thank you for jumping over and joining us. We have a decent lead in Jotunheim, as long as they don't change Limbo, which some versions of the Sarah Tech run it. Run like a Scarlet Witch or something to change locations. That would be, I think, about the only thing that would really hurt us here. But since I missed the entire explanation about why you're streaming on Twitch right now, ads. And so I think I got the ads turned off, Hink. But the reason I'm streaming over here is that I always feel like there's a constant kind of strife between, like if I want to do a late night stream. So if I'm up late and I just want to experiment with some different decks, it's always difficult to do without worrying that, like if I released a video 2 hours ago, that it's going to negatively impact that video's push because then YouTube starts saying, hey, this is live, this is what we're going to promote, and then the new active video gets pushed less consistently. So I think we lose to an arrow here. We don't have enough to flood the board, and this is the kind of the issue I found with this deck so far, and with arrow being so strong, is that you can push a lot of power. But overcoming that tech card of like an arrow is really difficult. So we're going to try. We're going to throw the She-Hulk into Jotunheim. We're going to see if the 20 power... Oh, okay, in Morag is enough. It's not going to be. The 20 power in Limbo now is not enough either. Ruin, hi, I want to offer promotion of your channel, viewers, followers. Okay. We'll run this one a little bit. I have a few others that I want to try as well. Just some stuff that I put together last night, and I want to test out. And I didn't want to just test it out just playing. I figured if I'm testing out, I might as well be streaming at the same time. Yeah, Arrow is in a really, really good spot. Like it's frustratingly good. Just because if you can't flood the board, she just offers so much value. I'm hungry 24/7. Hey, what's up? How's it going? I'm glad you were able to jump over and find us on Twitch. All your mods on YouTube as well? Yeah, all the mods are over there. And I think most of them are sleeping. I need to, yeah. If we start seeing stuff like that consistently, then yeah, we may need to change it. And I actually don't know how to remove a message.
Oh, snap.
I have no idea. I'll have to look into how to remove a message. Jason, how's it going? I'm glad you're able to jump in and join us. A Rebel Spy, Arrow is why you pivoted off of Moon Girl Magic double? Yeah. Yeah, it's just so, and I get why it's popular. Like it's really strong. So there's really no point in not running it because it just offers so much value in so many games that we may have to switch off of this deck until that dies down. But I do like the way that this one is kind of structured. A lot of times that early game is kind of clunky with this style of deck. I like the idea of having the Titania, the Viper, the Green Goblin to clog up their side of the board. And just overall, in general, just disrupt them a little bit. Sadly, I'm off to sports. I hope you'll have a wonderful stream. Hank, thank you so much for jumping over for a little bit. I hope that you have a fantastic rest of your day. Lance B4B, boo. Is that like a bad boo that we're over on Twitch? King Sammy, how's it going? I'm glad you're able to jump over and join us. I keep facing a guy who plays Kingpin and then Arrow into it, and they always outpower me despite knowing it's coming. Yeah, and I think depending on what you're seeing in the meta, depending on how strong it is, it may warrant an overall shift. Oh, we can't play anything but our large cards into the left 2 lanes. We do have them outpowered in Crimson Cosmos for now, so it should be okay. We might just play their Titania back. We can let 1 energy float for She-Hulk so that she's 5. We can play her next turn. No, oh, no, it's the follow sound. Boo snap. I got you. I got you. I had turned off the follower sound for a while. And so it's not something that I'm used to anymore. We could do magic to extend the game, and then we could skip on 5 into a free She-Hulk and Infinite on 6. We know that they can't pull anything over into Machine World, and so that gives us some potential advantage. I think we're gonna throw it into the middle lane. Oh, sorry. Let's see if I can undo that, Rebel. That shouldn't have been banned. All you did was say snap.fan. I really need to figure out the chat here. Is anyone familiar with it? Because I don't know how to unban it. Then saw your YouTube video and was like, oh, and checked snap history. And it was you I was losing to with it. Yeah, we have the Nightbot set to auto mod, but it definitely needs some adjustments. Oh yeah, the Iron Fist Vulture that came from another streamer. It was Freddy Babes, and it was a really unique deck that just offers so much value that it kind of just exploded when the meta was kind of in limbo and no one really knew exactly what they wanted to play. I mean, we still lose to an arrow. I feel like we always, no matter what, we lose to an arrow play. It does look, yeah, the first time I saw it and ran up against Freddy running it, I think I snapped proactively thinking like, this is like, this can't be any good. And then all of a sudden I lost. Like everything just kind of slowly bit by bit pieced together. And I ended up losing, and he continued to beat me like 3 or 4 more times that day. And that's when I was like, okay, maybe it's okay. Maybe we need to check it out. But just looking at like the individual pieces, it doesn't look like it's going to be strong at all. It's now midnight in Taiwan. I would fall asleep while watching your stream. I hope you don't play any noisy music. I don't, Lance. I don't play any noisy music. The loudest that it gets is probably going to be the sub or follower notifications. Other than that, it's a pretty laid back stream. So Lance, I hope that I hope that you drift off well, and I appreciate you watching the stream while you do it. This one does decently against Thanos in some scenarios. Actually, we may run over to the tech deck. I know I bled cubes trying to test out Ghost, and so I am kind of itching to get those back. I think we'll skip here. Either that, or we can ramp into a Psylocke. We can do magic next turn. I think we'll just let Sunspot get some additional power. This is not great locations, but with Sinister London, I mean, we might get stuck with the Green Goblin in nowhere. We can send it here. I know that they have pretty big cards that come down later on in a Thanos list. We switch Alex. For now, Alex. I don't know if it's. Is it safe to assume all your cards are gold borders? Gundam, it is. It is. I try to always, except for the Inkified ones, I keep those at graves because I think it looks really sleek. Otherwise, they always go to gold. But yeah, I switched to Twitch today just because I'm wanting to kind of test it out over here again. I know that I tested it out when the game first launched, but I do want to do a little bit more testing. And Mystic for Hire, hey, how's it going? Best the Ink ones. I don't have one yet, but yeah, they just look so. I don't know. The gray border just fits with them. We might magic the left. We can skip, and then we can do like an Infnot and maybe a She-Hulk as well. We'll draw Chavez next turn. Then it's a 1 out of 3 chance that we draw into our She-Hulk. You like Twitch more than YouTube? I'm torn. We've built the viewer base on YouTube, and so it's definitely there. Like the core viewer base is definitely there on YouTube. But then there's the kind of worry of if it's going to negatively impact the videos. Griever, hey, how's it going? I'm glad you're able to jump over and join us. I hope you're having a fantastic day so far. So we're gonna we're going to skip here. Let Sunspot absorb some additional energy. We already have the advantage in that lane, except for like the Space Stone. They might be able to move that. We could do the Infinite. They can't pull it anywhere except for middle. Actually, that's okay. We don't have She-Hulk in hand, so that's... We actually didn't have to skip last turn, it looks like. Is double 20 power ever enough? Thanos lists run really strong, really big cards. I don't know that a double infinite is enough. We don't need any extra power in Limbo. 20 power here, it's not, I don't think it ever overcomes it. Hey, thank you so much for the follow. Yeah, if they play at least 6 power, yeah. And for a Thanos list, they have those in spades, especially with what they had on the board. They had their stones, so they had the small stuff out. Yeah. I don't know. In my initial couple of games with this, I like the core of it. It just may not be the right time in the meta to run something like this. Yeah, we needed She-Hulk. She-Hulk could have stolen it away, but we would have had to top deck it on that last turn, especially with the Leech coming in. We would have had to top deck it. I think we're going to play Sunspot away from Mojo World, just in case it's a deck that runs Killmonger. We didn't want to put that as a potential 100-point swing for the opponent. So I'd rather go into the unknown than potentially risk that. And then Forest Law, thank you so much for the follow as well. I kind of like Titania and Mojo World. Even though we don't have a surefire way of making sure that it can come back to us, it makes it an all or nothing kind of game. So it's either one or the other is going to get that 100-point swing. Forest Law, TLSG on Twitch. We are on Twitch. And I think I turned off all of the ads. I think I got them turned off, even the pre-rolls. So we're still trying to figure out the fine-tuning of the Twitch. But I kind of like the idea of being able to have some of the cool perks and rewards. We could do the Psylocke into the Altar of Death to ramp up our energy. We'd be able to do like a Moon Girl to double down. Moon Girl's actually not phenomenal here. Recently got Hawk. That's huge. Then Zabu got nerfed. So I think Hawk is still in a really good spot. I would run it in the Sarah Tech version that runs Zabu. I actually have one of the decks queued up. I can switch over to it and just kind of show you what it's built like. KM Best runs this one quite a bit, and it's very solid. It has a lot of flexibility and makes use of Zabu still. So he's nerfed. He's just not as all in as he used to be. I still think he's really, really strong. So they have the Daredevil. They could be trying for like a Professor X lock, maybe. We're gonna double down on the demons and our Infinites. We don't have She-Hulk yet, but I still think we pulled the trigger early just in case we want to skip and actually be able to play the Infinite. Oh, Lance, sorry, I missed it. You said you like Twitch more than YouTube just for the stream part. Yeah, I think it definitely has more tools, and I think it's more refined. Twitch LSG. Twitch LSG. That's fitting. Would also love to see that Dark Hawk, the Hawk deck, trying out. Okay, yeah, I can switch over to it. I think the one that KM Best was running, and it's like a Sarah Tech, so it's very tech card heavy, but it's very flexible as well. And then him, thank you so much for the follow as well. So if we skip here, they could do potentially a Professor X lock. We don't get the extra energy from the hood because they dropped armor on us. I think we still skip here. No, then we would only have the Infinite to play, right? Maybe we try to compete for middle a little bit. We won't be able to do either of our Infinites, which feels really bad. We'll have our Chavez to lean on, but I don't know that that's enough. I felt good about this deck being queued up until we started running it. We're just barely pushing to stay neutral. So maybe we'll switch it up. It may not be the right time for it. We have a lot of like tech decks and things like that, so it may not be the right time for it. I'll queue up the Sarah Tech one. I feel like if there's a deck that is really strong right now, really situational, kind of adapt, it's probably the Sarah Tech. It's not necessarily a set 12 cards, but it's a set kind of core, and then from there you can adjust it to what you're seeing. And so I'll switch over to that. It's the one that runs Hawk. I won't run it for too long, just because I try to avoid the Series 4 and 5 cards for the most part, just because they're so difficult to pull and to get. But I do think it's very, very strong. And so with this one, it uses kind of the core base of like a Sarah Tech or Sarah Counter. And from there, you have the Zabu, which lets you be able to do your Shang-Chi, your Rock Slide, or your Hawk a little bit easier. Sarah, for the same thing, you can do your techs along with some of your other cards. And it adapts really, really well. I hope everyone's having a good day so far. I know that this is a much smaller stream than what we're used to on YouTube, but I kind of like the idea of streaming them over here on Twitch. And I don't know, a lot of people know Widow. Yeah, Widow's. I feel like she might be overused. She's decent, but with how many destroy locations and like death waves and all of those, like she stops one draw, so she ends up being like a 3 value 2 cost, which is, and that's if you have your Hawk out on the board. Otherwise, she's just a 1 value, and it can add a little bit of disruption, but I don't know that it's enough. I don't know that it's consistent enough to run her, and I don't know what else I would. I don't know what else I would cut. This one, like all of the cards. There's like 2 game plans here. We have the Hawk, the Rock Slide disruption, and then the hard counter stuff as well. And so deciding which one to cut, I think, would be really difficult. We could run Killmonger now just to make sure that we hit the sunspot. I think we do, just in case they're running armor. Drodo, thank you so much for the follow. But I'm toying around with the idea. I know a lot of the other content creators, and I'm still really new, so I'm still trying to find exactly what works best for me. I know a lot of the other content creators, they kind of use their streams to create their deck spotlights, whereas I've kind of been the flip side. I've been doing the deck spotlights, which then feeds into the streams. And I don't know which way is the most efficient or the best use of that time. I know from a time perspective, doubling up and using the footage from streams would be better. But from a like educational or making sure that it's quality content, I don't know. It's still something that I'm kind of toying around with and trying to find exactly what works for me and what works for my style as well. Herman, this is very interesting. I've tried to squeeze Shuri and She-Hulk into yours. Yeah, I feel like Shuri has a lot of value, but if it's not, I don't know. I feel like Shuri's very susceptible to Arrow as well. And so this one, kind of the game plan is that you never let up on your tempo. So every single turn, you're doing something efficient or something effective so that you can always position your arrow over the opponent's kind of. So we can either cap out this right lane and get the free raft resource, or we can pull one of their cards away. I think we'll cap out the raft location. Apocalypse could be worse. The Odin to cap out the raft. Into the rock. That's unfortunate. And I think that's one of the like side benefits of this deck is a lot of times when you're thinking of Hawk, you're thinking of Korg and Rock Slide, you're thinking of the value that it adds directly to your Hawk. But that disruption and that potential disruption, especially with Thanos being as actively good as he is, that lockjaw rotation becomes much more difficult to pull off consistently whenever you have 2 or 3 rocks in your deck. And if you get even one dud, that gives you an opening to find that win. The turn 6 Hawk and Mystique, I think it's solid, but I don't think this is an all-in Hawk deck. I think this one, we'd much rather play our Hawk early and then force them into countering it while we do something a little bit bigger, instead of like using turn 4 and 5 as like lower tempo plays. I think if it's an all-in Hawk deck, I think it makes sense. But for this one, in that being the only target, I don't think we would get enough use out of Mystique. And then Silvo Snaps, thank you so much for the follow. And so we do have Rock Slide that we could use on turn 4. If we had drawn Zabu, we could use it on 3, which gives us a lot of disruption. Mr. Fantastic's not going to work great for us in this game. We might be able to do some kind of arrow into Bar with no name, but we're gonna prioritize using our rocks, our disruption. We might use Polaris to pull over into the vault, and just as a power push over there. We get the Subterranea value. Subterranea always feels awful unless you're running Hawk. And so I definitely think Hawk is still in a really good spot. He's just not as insane. Before you could do Zabu and then just run as many 4 cards as you wanted and know that they were going to be really good value. And so now you have to, I think, play it a little bit more cautiously, but I think he's just fine. In a normal game, he's going to end up being like a 4/7, and that's without any Korgs or Rock Slides, so the value's definitely there. Charchoco, is Twitch going to be the place where you stream normally? I think that I would like for it to be, but I don't know. It's going to be a much smaller like stream setting than what we're used to and what we normally do. But I do like the idea of being able to stream over here or when a card launches. So like the new season pass card. If I get MODOK and I want to stream after the video's done, I can't really do that on YouTube without worrying about it impacting like that video's performance. So I would like to, but I don't know. That Devil Dino, we're not going to be able to overcome the Devil Dino. Devil Dino, he's always strong. Had we been able to play our Shang-Chi over there, definitely. But without that, he's very strong, and it's such a kind of basic play line that a lot of people forget just how strong it is, that it can just raw outpower most things. Yep, the old reliable Dino. You can't go wrong with a Dino build. I actually have one that I was playing around with that just seems like it shouldn't work, but it does, and it's a little bit different than Nina's build that I featured on YouTube a couple days ago. It's even more base bones than that, and it's just, you forget how good it is. I think it's a pool 2 build actually, and you can still run it pretty effectively. I'll do a couple more of these games, then maybe we switch over to that. I have a few different decks that I want to check out. So the Dino deck, it's like a very standard early game Dino deck that just uses like the Angela Collector Bishop value, and it just works well in so many scenarios. You can flood the board with your 1-cost cards. You can either do the double Devil Dino. You can it's easy to forget how efficient Dino can be because we have some flashier stuff now. We have much more like flashy play lines and card cost reductions, but he's always in a good spot. I need to see some Pirate Kingpin action. I wish that Kingpin was better than what he is. He's just so inconsistent. You have to use him more as a kind of supporter card. So I could see him in some of the movement Silver Surfer builds when those were pretty common or pretty big. Yeah, I want Kingpin to be good. Like I love his ability and just the mind games that it creates, but he's just not consistent most games. So I wanted to use armor not in the Monster Island lane because if we draw Shang-Chi, we want to be able to get that value. I don't want to protect their monster just to protect ours. On turn 4, we'll probably end up going Rock Slide. Just the disruption that it adds. It's one of those invisible disruptions. Like Scorpion, it's very prevalent how much you impacted their game. Iceman is one of those that it disrupts their playline, but you may not always know exactly how much. So if it hits a Professor X, you're probably not going to see what card it impacted, but it could very drastically change the path of their game. Any ghost decks to try? I tried a few. I think the Valkyrie Sarah Tech one is kind of decent in in its core. But it just wasn't incredibly consistent. You could do him in Cerebro 2. I did him in Cerebro 2 with a Luke Cage and Hazmat, and that one's decent. But again, Ghost doesn't... I don't think Ghost is impactful enough to really change the archetype and just bring it home by itself. Also, why would he play Kang over Daredevil? I don't know. And then Andrew, thank you so much for the follow. Kingpin's OP when New York's the hot location. That's true. He could be OP. So they have the Daredevil. They could play into Bar Sinister if they have some kind of lock. Right now we have the flooded location, unless they're going something that can go wide, or maybe even a Surfer build. We have initiative, so we don't have to worry about an arrow play just yet. I think we go Shang-Chi to take care of their monster, and then from there, we can either do Polaris and Killmonger, we can drop Mr. Fantastic in another card. If we draw into Hawk, that's probably our prime target for Bar Sinister, unless they have a Professor X to lock it down. But yeah, I think Kang is going to be really interesting. I'm excited to play and test out with Kang. I'm curious if it restarts the... I'm curious if it restarts the draw phase. And so if both players are able to draw after that, I think it'll be really, really interesting to see how that progresses. So they do win the Bar Sinister location. We can't quite beat it with the Mr. Fantastic. We do have the 6 cards that are in their deck, so the Hawk is going to be huge. If they did something like a Doctor Doom for some reason, even though they're running Professor X, that would push 5 over here, bring them up to 14. We're going to beat that with the Mr. Fantastic. Professor X into Bar Sinister always crashes your game. The location that used to shuffle your cards back into your hand, that's the one that always crashed mine. It could be, yeah, you're right, it could be Surfer, but why would they run Professor X in a Surfer build? I'm not sure what, I'm honestly not sure what they were running. And then thank you, Geronimo, for the follow as well. Yeah, Atelin, it's one of those that it just ended up crashing it drastically. Is it your new channel, or did you already have it before? So most of my content's on YouTube, and so this one is my primary. I mean, this is my only Twitch account. I guess unless you're counting an account that I streamed on for like a week, like 6 years ago, that would be the only other one. But otherwise, this is my like one and only Twitch account. And then Herman, you said I was trying to make a Surfer Psylocke deck from another streamer today. Silver Surfer and Absorbing Man seems like a neat idea. Yeah, I think Silver Surfer is still playable, but like it's just not as overpowering or overbearing as it used to be. So it's a lot easier to get just slightly outplayed. And so since they played into Mojo World, I think we're safe from like a kill. Actually, we have a Killmonger. What are we doing? We have a Killmonger, so we might accidentally... We'll at least keep it even. Hopefully they throw something else there that we can destroy with like a Shang-Chi. But since we have our Rock Slide on curve, we're going to add even more rocks. Actually, I'm okay with this. I think we're going to snap into it. That's 3 rocks by turn 3 that we're shuffling to their deck. So they have several chances to draw into non-impactful follow-up plays. We can always do Polaris to pull their Sunspot or whatever they have in the Mojo World out. We have a couple of play lines that we might want to do. But yeah, the deck, any deck that KM Best is running, is always solid foundationally. And this is one that he was testing out last night that I kind of swiped. I swiped from his channel, so I definitely didn't build this one. How about viewer games every new season with the new card? That's something I would like to do as well, and that's something that being on Twitch, if I can kind of transition some of the live viewers that I have on YouTube over here onto Twitch, that's something that I think would be really fun to be able to do. So they have the Daredevil as well. Did somebody feature a... a Professor X Daredevil build recently that I haven't been aware of. But yeah, viewer games with the new card, like I would play the new card right after it released, get my video up, and then I could always launch a stream and just do some like matches or scrims against them. I think that sounds really fun. So if they do have Professor X, they can do it into Mojo World. It could also be a It could also be a Galactus, but with Galactus, we have a pretty big couple of cards we could play. Just in case, we're going to throw Sarah into Wakanda. If it's a Professor X, we couldn't outpace them in Mojo World anyways. We'll just have to take the 100-point loss. Savvy Snickers, thank you so much for the follow. Ooh. Okay. The She-Hulk or Death? It could be. It could be a regular Death Wave, but with the Daredevil, I put it more on either like a Professor X or Galactus style of play line. Okay, so the Death's pretty big. I'm wondering if they thought it was the last turn? We can... They probably have Arrow. I think they always have Arrow, right? In like a Death Wave, which is what this looks like it is, but it doesn't run Killmonger? So where do we think they use their Arrow? I would say maybe they use it here. If not, we can kill their Sunspot. That would give us the lead in this lane. Maybe we position it like this. If they arrow to the left, we at least tie middle. Then it comes down to the value to the left. I think we're okay. Okay, never mind. I was overthinking it. Oh man. Okay. You go all mid. If they arrow, they only take 2. That's true. And we're swinging the value in the Sunspot. Yeah, I think them finding a winning play there was, and your Killmonger makes you have 2 to their 1. That's true. Yeah, the all-in mid I think probably was the play. Let's do one more with this one. Then because this isn't one that I'm gonna feature at any point. It's just one that I think is foundationally sound. And so if you happen to have Hawk, then I think it's very flexible. It deals with Thanos really well with the Killmonger, with the rocks. It deals with Death Wave pretty well in your Zabu and your Sarah reductions. The Shuri, it has counters with like Shang-Chi or Arrow. It just has answers to a lot of the like common decks. Hey DC, how's it going? I'm not cross-streaming right now, so every time I try to cross-stream, it's like I don't think my internet's strong enough. Yeah, the Hawk is unfortunately unplayable, but we do have Killmonger, and we have our Shang-Chi. We don't have Sunspot. Sunspot would be really good to pair with our armor for skipping some of these, but I think we're okay. So right now I'm just streaming on Twitch. I'm kind of testing out a couple of ideas of how and where I want to stream long-term DC. But I appreciate you jumping over and joining us. So we'll play the Mr. Fantastic. We can always hide our Killmonger in Dark Dimension, or we could just play it on the last turn. I think the Killmonger is going to give us the most value here. Hey, Official Saucepan, how's it going? You don't have Hawk or Shuri? What I do have is M'Baku and Helicarrier. What do you got for me? I have a lot of pity for you. I wish that those were better. Ooh, they're running the Death Wave version of Thanos, right? Did they top deck into their death? They probably did. M'Baku's just kind of I don't feel like he adds anything. So if you run him in a lockjaw rotation, he doesn't really give too much value there. If you run him in a Cerebro 2, a lot of times he's just kind of he's just kind of okay. And then Helicarrier, he can be decent in like a Devil Dino discard to like reload your hand with like a Lady Sif and Ghost Rider combo, but I don't know that that's consistent enough to go away from some of the more like familiarized play lines. Yeah, play Sarah, then you can play everything. Yep, you're right. You're right, official saucepan. Yeah. Whenever the Quantum Tunnel, he's a free rotation, but outside of that, I don't think he adds enough value for a potential bad flip. And now we can't. So that's an awful lot of cards in Dark Dimension. I don't think we ever win this one. Our Hawk is a decent size. We have initiative, so we always flip first in the Dark Dimension. So we can't take out their Death, their She-Hulk, their Arrow. We'll jump back down. Yeah, the amount of times that Wave has killed your Swarm deck. Yeah, and if I start seeing a lot of Death Wave, I like to switch over to the Thanos list that has Leech. Like if you hit the Leech, then it just takes away their entire kind of burst. Yeah, big fan. I watch your streams on YouTube. Also, I just pulled Valkyrie. Is she playable without Bast? I think she is. You could use her in like a more of a control style setting. It's just I don't think I'm very good with using Valkyrie. I think it's not my like natural play line, and so I misplay it a lot. And so I think Valkyrie is an okay card. It's just you have to have a lot of patience because it's not gonna hit every time. So what do we want to run?
Hey,
and then
welcome. It took you long enough.
Ardilla, thank you so much for the Prime sub. I appreciate it. I appreciate the support. I'm so glad to have you here. What's your opinion on C3 with Valk? I think it's okay. I think it's definitely more consistent than what it used to be. I think there's some cool versions of it with like Rhino, with Quake, but it's another one of those that I'm not good at playing it. I think it can be decent against certain metas, but I'm never good with it. So then Electro Ramp was another one I was wanting to try. I saw that this did good in one of the recent Snap tournaments, and I can't understand it. I can't understand how it outpowers something like Thanos or Shuri Ramp, and because this is actually the one I believe that won the tournament, so it got top out of like 100 and something people, and I don't get it, and so I built it, and I haven't tested it much outside of a couple of games. Like all of the pieces I understand. The Doctor Doom and the Odin, they can go wide. You can use the Magneto to displace the opponent. The Leech for some of those like arrow play counters, things like that. But just, it seemed, I don't know. So it's something that I definitely wanted to try out because apparently it has pretty decent bones. If it got all the way up to at least, top 4, it should be pretty decent against like Thanos lists and other strong decks. So I think it's worth a try at the very least. We'll actually reset our win-loss. I find that a lot of my streams, I don't climb very well. I climb better whenever, I don't know if it's like split attention or not thinking through the play lines or second guessing my play lines because I don't want to mess up. But it's definitely something I need to get better at. So we have the extra energy. We don't have the downside. I think maybe we go with something like a claw into middle. Unless they change the limbo location. We have the extra turn. So we could do Jubilee to try to pull one of our big cards, but it could also pull into Ebony Maw, which is... Oh my gosh. That was a beautiful rogue that I don't... This may be a bot. We may be facing a bot. We may not even be able to beat bots. Yeah, I know that was really suspicious. I mean, if it was an actual play into the snap, okay. I think we're okay. I think this is a more like the name, the no title seems like it might be a bot. We're gonna leech and see if we can still make it happen. Mr. Negative on 5. Maybe it's not a bot. It seems like more of a cohesive deck now. It's like just a Bast Mr. Negative value. And I think it's the Silver Surfer version as well. We have to anticipate that coming down. So we could do Magneto. That could pull their Bishop and their Rogue over into Limbo. They wouldn't get the Claw value anymore. And then we'd be looking for our win condition from there. Official Saucepan, because of the fact that there's no true meta deck right now, just dominating the game, I've seen a lot more random BS decks. Yeah, I feel like a lot of people are experimenting, myself included. Like there's sometimes I'll go up against somebody and just get absolutely rolled because I'm experimenting with a couple of different builds, and it's just I'm still trying to like work out the fine tuning of how to make it work. So do we go with the 50-50 chance to pull into Dr. Doom here? All bots have titles. Yeah, smart. Yeah, I guess that's true. I do face a handful of bots, not as much as like the top rank, so like those that are well over infinite. But like during non-peak times, I face quite a few. I kind of want to go with the 50-50. I assume that they do a Silver Surfer here. Maverick, that's a bot. Played it last night. I still kind of want to go with the 50-50. Okay. Yeah, and yeah, I think there's definitely some truth in that, Asgard. Some good tournament decks aren't going to be good at laddering. Just like Galactus isn't, I don't think, ever going to be good in tournament, but it can do decently on the ladder. Because you have that element of surprise going into each game, whereas with the tournament, they're going to be able to know your play line a little bit better so they can more efficiently drop their cards. And so I think there's definitely some of that goes into it as well. I think the inherent strength of it carries over, but the matchups that you face and kind of the randomness, I think is a lot harder to... I think there's a lot less of that in tournaments because you can definitely figure out your opponent and your opponent's game plan or play style, whereas on the ladder it's much harder to do that. Honestly, I don't get the grind for 200. Yeah, I don't either. Once you hit a certain point, so like once I hit infinite for the season, typically it just kind of like there's not a whole lot of extra point. And then Wild Force, thank you so much for the follow. It doesn't feel like there's much value in just continuing to grind it, because then once you get your MMR too high, you're just facing bots, and that kind of takes the fun out of it. If I'm facing bots every time, then it just doesn't. I don't know. I think it changes the game for me. DC, I use Cyclops avatar and no title so that players may think I'm a bot. I think there's some merit to that climbing technique. You can definitely try. I've definitely snapped on a few people I thought were bots that turned out to not be bots, using that technique. I don't do it myself, but I do see how you can get some advantage there. Yeah, so to win in tournaments, I think overtime players with more tournament experience has an edge. Yeah, because you can only play battles to practice it as well. That's true. Just kind of that overall, like knowing when to force the opponent into having to pay for extra information. So like the first couple of games, you could snap more aggressively if you have a pretty decent play line, if you have a pretty decent read on the opponent, to make them really have to work for any information that you're going to give them. And then if you get a lead in the battle mode, it's so hard to play from behind. So if you lose a 4 cube right off the bat, it's much harder to stage and make a comeback from there.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, I was watching someone play and they know on which round to snap and whatnot. Yeah. Yeah, that definitely makes a big difference. Knowing when to snap in like a tournament setting. And so if you can press your advantage whenever you have it, or at least make your opponents think that you have it, then you can win a lot of games that maybe you shouldn't have, or just give yourself a slight advantage that can eventually snowball and lead into a win. I played in one turn. I've only played in one tournament just because it takes so long, and it was. I got third, And it was definitely a different mentality. I was snapping much more aggressively than I do otherwise, just to make sure that the opponent, the rock slide's real tough, just to make sure that the opponent had to pay for every piece of information that they got. I don't know that Jubilee is ever even worth it here. Maybe we just She-Hulk. We can She-Hulk. Next turn we can maybe do Leech. If they don't drop their Hawk, then we can hopefully hit it. The Korg is massive here. We definitely don't want to Jubilee. We have too many rocks to potentially draw into. But I do think if they don't drop Hawk this turn, that the Leech gives us some really good value. Because then we can do the double Dr. Doom that sends more power here and here. I mean, leeching not just once. We're gonna make sure that they don't have any abilities left. Hopefully they held their Hawk until the very... Oh, no, they didn't. That's unfortunate. But if they had Mystique, they're not gonna be able to use that. But the Dr. Doom mid wouldn't win it left.
Oh, snap.
We could pull away right, but I don't think we can pull away the win overall. We could do Odin and leech their hand 4 more times just to make sure that they know that their hand can't be used. So they try to match the opponent. Yeah, round 5 is when it starts being double cubes. And so then that, like, if you're not close, then at that point you're just, you're at a big disadvantage. If you're a deck that doesn't want to reveal information, I think that's the strat. But if your playstyle values more information, most likely control types, then I'd feel that they'd want to snap later rounds after getting... Yeah, if you have a very specific play line, you want to make sure that your opponent doesn't have like a hard counter to your deck. You might play it a little bit slower, but if you're something that you think just has good broad or overall value, maybe you snap a little bit more aggressively. It's really cool to see like the inner workings of that system and how it's going to develop long term. Because I've never been really big on like any competitive scene. Like I've watched stuff, but I've never like competed in a lot of the competitive stuff. So it's really interesting to see kind of how it progresses. Yeah, I wish you could kind of switch around the battle mode decks, but I do think a lot of the like structured tournaments are implementing stuff like that. So like the snap battles, they're doing a few things like that to make sure that it does give that variance. So the Onslaught Citadel, we can get some decent value from the claw play. And that pushes it into the vault as well, which is pretty, I think will maybe come out as a surprise. We could ramp up 1/3 into an Electro, or ramp up 1/3 with Electro into a turn 4 claw. I think we're comfortable enough with it. We'll do Ebony Maw to make them think that we're kind of hard stuck. As long as they don't have a Rogue, a Super Scroll, Enchantress, which are not very common right now, which I think is where this deck can kind of hopefully hold some of it. Ooh, it's a movement deck. And so they shouldn't have any like big tech cards. I think we should be fine in that regard. Ooh, we can only play 6 cost cards over there. So we'll ramp. We'll have 2 turns to play cards over there. Magneto won't give us much value. We just really don't want to pull any of their cards if we can help it. I appreciate everyone that jumped over from YouTube, from our normal live stream spot over here. It means a lot because it was pretty last minute. I've been trying to think of a way to be able to stream and not have to worry about if it impacting video performance or. And I know that these are going to be much smaller, but I appreciate you guys for coming over and just hanging out with me. So there's a couple of decks that I know we could climb with pretty quickly if I wanted to recover my cubes. So we were at 95, and then I bled about 70 cubes trying to test out Ghost. And so we're slowly climbing, but I still want to experiment. I don't want to like just run the same thing. I think Thanos is probably one of the easiest ways to climb to Infinite right now, just because of how strong it is. But that gets kind of boring. I'd rather continue to test and find out different ways to make the plays. Okay, so the goose is big. I'm glad we got our claw down before the goose was played. Oh, that's actually kind of... Can't play our leech anywhere. We have to play low-cost cards here, which we definitely don't want to do. We could play She-Hulk. Right now, that's not going to pull anything. Or we could play Magneto. Right now, that's not going to pull anything. And that's going to be a big piece in like a beating the movement deck here. Been playing a lot of Thanos, getting a streak of bad luck of drawing 6 costs rather than the stone. Yeah, and sometimes that's gonna happen, but I think for the most part it's just really, really strong. Any non-Thanos decks, the Shuri ramp deck is really strong. And there's a Series 3 version that doesn't run Sauron that I think is really strong. It has some counter cards like Cosmo and Armor to protect your cards and protect you from Arrow. I think just Shuri's insanely strong. As far as tuning goes, I think she's in a really, really strong spot right now. So they did Shuri. It looks like Freddy's deck, but it runs Shuri and Kraven, which is kind of strange. We'll take the 2 cubes. Official Sauce and Zarwita, thank you so much for the follows. I think either way, we just need to pick something and kind of stick to it to play for some of these games. Playing 1 or 2, I don't think gives us a good pulse of it. This one, surprisingly, I've been doing just about as good as we've been doing with any of our other decks. And then Dan, thank you so much for the follow as well. I appreciate it. But I do think there's several. I think the easiest or most attainable, yes, to climb with right now is probably like just a standard Jane Foster lockjaw rotation deck, which I think is always really strong. I think it's just kind of it's not as exciting. And then Devil Dino, like just a value Devil Dino deck, can outpace a lot of decks that may not get their high roll. You're not going to be able to beat everything or just face roll everything, but I think it has really good potential to, if you can play patiently and play to your odds, I think it has really good chances to climb as well. So there's definitely several that are able to reach infinite. I think just Thanos is just a little bit easier to just like completely face roll it and have it without any issues. That player had a white border Shuri. Oh, probably just got it from Cash. They might have. Asgard, have you tried a deck that includes Thanos in a Mr. Negative? Since it has 3 ramps with Thanos. I haven't. One of the mods in my Discord is actually testing out a list. They sent it over to me, but I haven't had a chance to check it out. But it definitely sounds pretty interesting, because then you can always lockjaw flip your stones into your negative cards, which I kind of like the idea of. And then Tofu, welcome. I'm so glad you were able to find us over on Twitch and that you were able to jump in and catch us live. You have a list for it too? Oh, that's huge. If you're on the Discord, if you shoot it to me in a message, I'll check it out. So we can do Sunspot. We can always push more power with like a Dr. Doom. We can do Leech on 5 since we ramped with Electro if we feel like we need to. If they're going to do a Shuri here, then maybe we do Leech to make sure that they can't do their Taskmaster or their Arnim Zola. But right now they only have the Sunspot to target for their Arnim Zola. So, and then Dan, hey TLSG, love your YouTube videos. Glad to see you on Twitch. It's something I like the Twitch layout a little bit better. I think it definitely has some options that YouTube doesn't have. But the struggle is that our viewer base is built into it's just naturally built into YouTube with the videos. And so it'll be much smaller streams, but I think if I come over here consistently, I think we'll be able to transition some of that viewership over. And so they did run the Shuri. I'm not sure if we want to do... I think we do Leech. We can do Leech and then Dr. Doom on the last turn. Because I assume that they either skip here to try and do a She-Hulk. I think either a She-Hulk and a Taskmaster, or they play like a Red Skull here. And then they wouldn't be able to copy it with the Taskmaster if we Leech them. And then Quiff, only Shuri nerf I can think of would be make it double next card played at the same location. Yeah, Shuri's tough. Whenever you think about like doubling up on power, it's always a really tough balance. I'm waiting for Bast and the Deadpool bundle. Bast I think is decent. It can really start snowballing your Deadpool, but then trying to find a way to win if Deadpool's not in your opening hand is interesting. Marvel Snap generally doesn't have a lot of viewers right now. Yeah, so I think it'd be okay to build up on Twitch. So typically the streams on YouTube will have like between 400 and 600 concurrent viewers, and so definitely much smaller, just because it's built into YouTube right now. So Doctor Doom's not great. They played Red Skull here. I think maybe we should have played Leech to the left instead of into middle, so that we could more easily compete for the raft. Yeah, Bass works with Deadpool. Bass works with... I agree with Deadpool. I don't know about Thanos as much, because usually with Thanos you want to have some big... Yeah, we're gonna retreat out of that one. Usually with Thanos you want to have some bigger cards, so I think it might hinder you on Thanos unless you're running like a Zoo version. Zoo is maybe, but Bass is huge for negative decks. And then Valkyrie and Cerebro, yeah. Both of those, it can help with consistency and just being able to make sure that like your Cerebro is not just a 0 power card. It can actually add to your power push, which I think is the only reason that Cerebro 3 is like halfway decent, is we have ways to kind of correct those play lines. Yeah, turning Iron Man or Mystique, yeah. And the same thing with Mr. Negative, turning it from a -1 to a +3. That's 4 extra value that you're getting that would otherwise be just a bad card. Yeah, it could work in a Thanos Valkyrie control deck, so like a Zoo style deck. But I think the strongest Thanos right now is just like being able to push large power instead of like controlling the board. But I think it could fit in, just not with what I currently, I guess, associate Thanos with. I've tried negative Valkyrie, and it's hard to do consistently. So we're gonna shuffle our cards. The reason I snapped on turn 1, we have Doctor Doom that can get value into the Sanctum Sanctorum, and it's really difficult for a lot of decks to reach there. DC, it's 3 a.m. there. Oh man. Yeah, I'll have to. Unfortunately, I'll be live for a little while longer. But I'm glad you were able to jump in and join me for a little bit. Hopefully, we catch you in another one soon. I hope that you have a good rest of your night, though. So we actually get really good value here. 242 there, Lance. Wow, it's incredibly late. We get really good value in the Atelan flip. We now have the Leech, which can take off their Death, their She-Hulk, maybe even their Wave or Arrow. Then we can get the Doctor Doom value and the Odin value as well. Been having a lot of fun with a Thanos Death Wave deck. As a Marvel nerd, the Death Thanos synergy makes me happy. I actually ran across the Death Wave Thanos the other day, and I lost 8 cubes to it because I thought I was running a Thanos deck myself, and I thought I had the clear advantage, and it turns out I did not. Are you allergic to card backs? I'm maybe. I might be. I'm really bad about switching into them, and so yeah, I'll switch over to it here after. I'll switch over to a card back after this one. We're surprisingly, like, looking at the deck, I wouldn't think it would be anything special. Surprisingly, we're doing halfway decent. I think a lot of it is the Leech value right now. A lot of decks will really push for that late game like combo play. I think Leech has a lot of value that we may not necessarily always think about. And then the Doctor Doom going wide is big as well. This one. So I think I've only used a card back like a handful of times. Which one should we do? Kind of like the Mjolnir one.
Hey,
Asgard.
welcome. It took you long enough.
Asgarth, thank you so much for the tier 1 sub. I appreciate the support so much. I'm so glad to have you here as part of the team. I'm allergic to titles. I have way too many titles. Way too many titles. How should I message on Discord? If you add me, or if you join my Discord server, you could always throw it into general or into one of the channels, and I can catch it. Just tag me to it. I think we're gonna go with the Mjolnir back.
Oh snap!
Just to let them know that we have the that we're not running Thor. I think I have it set up as that. The Punisher, yeah, the Punisher one is really great. The Daredevil one's pretty cool as well. There's a lot of cool ones. It's just I delete and make new decks so often that I forget to attach them. I forgot to pull them up. I'll show you my my avatars and titles after this. I completely forgot to pull them up. It's not great. So kind of like this. We have the Ebony Maw. That's fine that we get locked out of Tinker's Workshop. We're going to have the extra energy from Electro, but we send it over their way in Oscorp Tower. Then we can do our Doctor Doom. We can just kind of go with our normal play line. In a lot of decks, it's going to make really difficult for them to win if they can only play the one card. Because a lot of decks are going to want to flood multiple cards onto the board. And then as I just saw your message come, I just saw it come through. So I'll check it. I'll check it after this. Or after the stream ends, I'll check it. But yeah, Sherlock, I think it's something, it's over 100 titles. I counted them the other day. It's an absurd number of titles. Yeah, just getting 3,000 collection level with tons of useless titles and avatars. Yeah. So with the discard deck, so the Electro doesn't hurt them quite the Electro doesn't hurt them quite as much, but the Leech sure does. I always like doing Leech on 5 just in case they're running MODOK. But I think we do it now. I don't think we hold it because our ideal line is going to be Doctor Doom into Odin on 5 and 6. And so we know that we're going to reset their Apocalypse. So if they discard it anymore, it's not going to be huge. And so maybe I was a little bit too hard on this deck. Maybe it's not as okay. I thought they discarded their hand with MODOK for a second. I was like, why would they discard an entire hand of? We could pull Dracula over. I think our only good play line is Odin though, because it's going to be 18 power that it puts onto the board on that last turn. So if they skip, they come up to 21 in the left lane. We're only going to be 20. But then it would come down to what does their Dracula pull, and I think we're decently safe. Getting a title or avatar from a cache is so deflating. It is. Knowing that it could be a card variant is always kind of deflating. Okay, so the Calling Wing, it's good value there. They tie us in the left lane. I think we're okay, yeah? Ooh, so it keeps the 12 power. We're still able to overcome it, but it keeps the 12 power even after being leeched. That's an interaction that I actually haven't seen very often. I would have thought it would have reset back to... No, I guess because it comes back into the hand with the buff. I guess it makes sense that it's 12. It just doesn't get any bigger. So maybe maybe I was too hard on this deck. Will we be seeing a leech nerf soon? I don't know how they can leech the nerf, or I don't know how they can nerf the leech without just like completely killing the card. Because he's already at such a low power tempo that unless you ramp into him or flip into him, he just feels bad to play in most games. Hey Vizzle, how's it going? I'm so glad you're able to jump in and join us. Welcome. So as far as our titles go, we have way too many titles. Hockey Warrior, thank you so much for the follow. And then VidSnap, I'm not sure if I called yours out or not, but thank you for the follow as well. They just keep going.
Oh, snap.
All of those could have been variants or something I would actually use. Your recent one is the Squirrel Girl avatar. These keep going as well. It always feels so bad when we pull one because you can only use one. So most of them are just there. So like the title, the first one has a lot more value than the 100th. Same thing with avatars. Almost deleted the game. Yeah, yeah, they do feel bad sometimes. But getting your like favorite character, I think is cool, at least for the avatar. The titles, they're kind of cool. The one that I use is the one from the competition for like grinding an ungodly number of hours, and that's probably the only one that I'll ever use. I don't think I'll ever switch off of it. Actually, that last win got us up to 89. We have a couple of mystery variants that we can open. So I think we go ahead and we open a few of the variants here. Make it a little bit larger. I have 3 mystery variants to pull. One from the track, 2 from the season pass, and I always like to save them up for some time when I'm streaming. It would be better if you could get animated avatars from reserves. That would be pretty cool. But let's go ahead and we'll open up the mystery variants. Hopefully we don't get too many pixels. I always seem to get pixels. Okay, so I actually don't think I have a Dracula one at all. I'm okay with that one. Let's look at our recent. Yeah, I don't have a Dracula one. That one's definitely getting the gold border treatment. I would take that over a pixel variant any day. Any day. This one, I would take this one. This one's not a bad one. That's your favorite Dracula variant? I think it looks very like classic. I think it's very classic Dracula. So I do like the way that it looks. We'll get it up to the gold border. I think I've split Dracula a couple of times, so maybe we can get it gold or inked sometime soon. Oh, never mind. I've only split him once. We have a lot of boosters for him. We have 537 boosters. That one's a good one. We have 2 more. Let's see if we can dodge the pixel. I seem to always get a pixel one from the season pass track somewhere along the lines. He doesn't have big funky earrings though. Then I mean, you're not wrong, Asgarth. Okay, that's a good goose too. I don't have one for goose either. This season is oh, I mean, I have. No, I stand by my statement. I don't have another one for goose. That's the only one I have for goose. We have one more. So far, these have been really good. I like both of the ones that we've pulled. All right, not a pixel one. I'm glad that we didn't get the pixel one. So the only other Khazar one that I have is the season pass one, which I like to, if I have one that's not the season pass, I like to run the one that's not the season pass, just because it's a little bit harder to get, or a little bit more rare. All 3 of those, I like all 3 of those. 3 out of 3 for no pixels? Yeah, yeah, we beat the odds. I wish there was a way to sort by pixel variant, because I have an ungodly number of pixels, and the only one that I use is the Moon Girl one. And the only reason that I use the Moon Girl one is because that's the only variant we have for her, and it doesn't look good at all. Some of the pixels look decent. Not this one. This one does not. Pixel Domino, the Pixel Multiman, and the first few that I got, like it was cool because they were rare, they were harder to get, and then it just kind of became overwhelmingly pixels. When did I get this one? I don't use Sabretooth enough, but that's a pretty decent one. Wait, oh, on Snap.fan. Yeah. Yeah, the Hellcow one, it's just so... it's almost... I saw a meme. It was like... it was from Ant-Man, where his daughter says, "It's so ugly. I love it." And it had the picture of the Hellcow. I think that perfectly describes the Hellcow. The Steampunk Moon Girl? Yeah, I would like a Moon Girl. I use Moon Girl enough that I would like a variant for. I just haven't pulled one and haven't seen one in the store that I like. Sabretooth, yeah, Sabretooth could use a bump. He's good in very few decks, and so whenever you run him, it's almost very transparent of what kind of play line you're going with. Yeah, the Season Pass one for the Khazar looks way too... it does look really similar to the default one. We have the Doctor Doom, the Odin, and the Claw to push more power here. I think we're okay. We're gonna go ahead and early snap. We'll play aggressively. Let's switch back to the correct view. He needs to work out more to be buffed. Yeah, he needs to be buffed a little bit more. But I don't know. I almost want to say Black Bolt does as well, but Black Bolt's I guess decent. It just never feels great with the new card coming out. I think it's next week. So. And then Preston, hey, how's it going? I saw that you just jumped in. I'm glad that you were able to jump in and join us. Asgarth, I have 2 geese. So why did I switch over to Twitch from YouTube? I like the idea of having a platform that I can go live whenever I have like a moment. Yeah, I think it's stature. Whenever I have a moment. So like if a card just releases and I want to, and I do a video over it, but I also want to stream a little bit. On YouTube, I have to worry about, is it going to negatively impact the video for that card, and so then I usually end up just kind of playing, but just offline. And so Twitch, I could launch the live stream whenever I want to, and it not worry about it impacting anything. Is kind of the reason I'm testing out streaming over here. I don't know that that's where we end up with for full time, but it is something that I wanted to test out. I know that the streams are going to be much smaller viewer bases than on YouTube, but I think that's okay. I'm okay with that for a while. So the Claw getting hit with Iceman put us in a really tricky spot here. We can do the Odin, but that never gets us more power in Nova Roma than what they have. They did use Moon Girl, so they have another Devil Dino. We probably should have went with Leech instead. Knowing that they used Moon Girl and that it had the Quinjet value, we probably should have. We probably should have leeched on 6 whenever we drew it instead of going with the Doctor Doom. The Doctor Doom would have just been the filler at that point. Yeah, I'm glad to be streaming too. It's just juggling both on YouTube. I don't know. It's always kind of in the back of my mind, trying to figure out when the best time to stream is, and then if I miss that window and it's too close to another video or too recently to a video releasing, I don't know. It just becomes tough to manage both. And so I would like to be able to go over here. I don't know though. It's still kind of in the early. We're just kind of testing out the waters a little bit. And then Cold Woman, how's it going? I'm glad you're able to jump in and join us. Yeah, Black Bolt can definitely see more play. I'm worried about Moon Knight. I feel like I have the worst luck with what cards get discarded from Moon Knight. So unless I'm playing a discard deck, I'm usually not confident enough in the Moon Knight playline. Now, I guess we could see some Moon Knight and maybe Ghost Rider combos, forcing both players to discard a card, and then you have Ghost Rider as like a backup in case it hits something that you want to come back, instead of like the Lady Sif. But then that's also another element of RNG that becomes really hard to manage. So we're going against the Thanos deck. Leech should be decent on 4, because we have the Electro to ramp up next turn. We could do Leech on 4, hopefully before they can leech us. And then we're just looking for a way to win from there. I like the synergy of Wong in a Thanos deck. You get to draw 2 cards from Space Stone and move the stone. since Wong normally needs more space. Yeah, you could. Yeah, he would always discard the Ghost Rider. You're probably not wrong. So we'll go with our Electro ramp. We're not confident enough to snap. Lockjaw makes Leech a little bit less effective as well, because they can always rotate, and if their card was leeched, then it just comes back. When it comes back, it gets its ability back. I think it's a bug. So like if we leech a stone and they cycle it back in and then eventually get it and play it, it gets its ability back, so it's no longer leeched. It's an interesting interaction. I can't see that it's intended, but it is nice to take advantage of when you're running a Lockjaw. So we have Heimdall, we have Magneto. Magneto's not going to pull anything. We do get our Dr. Doom. But after this turn, it's going to send either into the left or the middle. So I think we'll end up capping out more lanes than we intend to. But it does give us a good power push, and we can always drop a Heimdall shift on the last turn. I think we'll do the Dr. Doom. And maybe we're leaning too heavily into Dr. Doom, but Asgarth, I'm not sure why my opponent always Ghost Riders into Hela. Is that a thing, or is my luck just bad? So like they're using Ghost Rider to resummon Hela? If so, depending on how many cards they are, it could just be bad luck. So they cycled back into the Space Stone, so they'll be able to move one of their cards in the left lane. Do they move their Lockjaw? If they don't move their Lockjaw, then we can pull their Lockjaw to the right, and then it's just a rotation. So it comes down to luck. In our deck, we have Odin. None of the other pulls are great. Heimdall's not going to do us any good. I think our only chance would be Magneto, and I think it's a small chance. If it was for more cubes, I would retreat. Yeah, we're definitely not going to win this one. Maybe you can cut some highlights from your stream to make a daily video. That's what I was thinking. I get so distracted talking to chat that I think it would change the overall flow of the videos a bit. But it is something that I had in mind. And I don't know where I eventually go, because I would like to be able to stream more and stream more consistently. But I think finding, you know, that balance that works for me is the important piece. But I do appreciate everybody that jumped over and joined us, because it was super last minute. I think I only posted it maybe 10 minutes before going live over on YouTube. Preston, by the way, when are we going to see you in some tournament action? So I don't know. Do you follow Snap Battles? I know that they did the initial kind of collaboration with a lot of the...
Hey, welcome. It took you long
Hey,
enough.
and thank you so much for the Prime sub. It's very much appreciated. I know that they did a collaboration with a lot of the other creators. And now they're looking at... Hey, Zombie, thank you so much for the raid. I hope that your stream went well. Very glad to see you. Very glad for the raid. Thank you so much. But I did reach out to the Snap Battles people, the ones that are organizing the next one, the Danger Room, because I think that'd be really cool. I probably wouldn't be... It'd be one of the like battles leading up to like that main event or that headliner, but I still think it'd be really cool to do. Will you be playing the next Black Claws one? When... I haven't signed up for it, but I would like to do another Black Claws one, because it was a really good experience overall. For it being so early on in like the game's life, that tournament experience was so seamless that it was really fun. I didn't have any issues the whole time, like reporting scores, doing the different gameplays. And so I would like to do another Black Claws one, depending on when it is. Saturdays sometimes are tough, because on those days I do have my daughter. We could do Leech into a Dr. Doom to spread out the power to the left and right. Or we could do Leech into an Odin to re-trigger the Jubilee. And that would give us a 50-50 of drawing into Claw to push more power to the left. But I'm not sure what they're running with the Invisible Woman. I think either way we go with the Leech playline, right? I just found out my wife is pregnant with our first kid. Maverick, that's huge. Congratulations. I'm sure that it's very overwhelming, could be potentially scary. There's going to be ups and downs with it, but it is so incredibly rewarding that I hope that you're over the moon excited because it's a big thing. Kino, how's it going? I see that there's an in-person tournament going on. Yeah. So I was invited to the one in New York, but with the like travel and airfare and all of that, it's tough to. I wasn't able to make it work. I wasn't able to make the logistics of it work. So I think that's it being like the first in-person tournament. I think that's really cool as well. So Captain Marvel can move over to the left because we used armor in the left lane. It can move over to the right, but that would make it lose Mojo World. So I'm hoping between that interaction we can find a way to win. You should commentate tournaments. I feel like you'd be a good caster. I would enjoy it. That is something that I would like to do. So even if I'm not competing in them, sometimes I get a little bit too nervous in like competitive environments. I have a very go with the flow kind of personality. So sometimes I get really nervous in like higher level stuff. That's why I never played it like sports in high school or anything like big time competitive. Just because I start overthinking things. So even if I'm not playing in the tournaments, I would enjoy casting. I think that would be really cool just to watch the different play lines, be able to kind of analyze and do those play-by-plays. I think that would be. I would really enjoy that. So hopefully it's something that I can make happen at some point. And then Monkeys, welcome. I'm so glad you were able to jump over and join us. The way you describe turn by turn suits it. Yeah, and it's just kind of that natural it's kind of that natural thing that just kind of developed. And so yeah, I think it'd go alongside it. My only worry is that I have a lot of false starts. And I use a lot of ums and ahs. It's something that I'm working on trying to get better at, but they're still there. So I have to really learn to embrace the pause. I think that's the only thing that would really hold me back in like a casting setting. TLSG and Golden Boy on the comms casting, that'd be huge. I would love that. I want to see you in some action with Cozy and Alex too. Yeah, all of them are fantastic. I think Cozy is one of the like most magnetizing personalities that I've had the pleasure of interacting with. And recently he said, it was to somebody else, not like directly to me, but the key to like growing on YouTube or Twitch is to be able to do something better than what they can. So to do something that makes you stand out. And I think Cozy's thing is one, the editing, like the overall editing value is incredible. But I think that personality is what he brings to his videos, and I think that's what makes him successful. Alex, I'm not as familiar with. I actually haven't interacted much with him. I know like of his videos, I just haven't like personally talked to him. But he has those kind of strengths as well. No, I think you should embrace your flaws. It's part of what makes it real. Yeah, I like embracing the flaws, but I also think it's important to continue to work to improve and do better. I think there's definitely value in both. So they used Moon Girl. So I expect, and then they used Shuri. So I expect a double-powered She-Hulk and Taskmaster. I think this is the game where we make sure that cannot happen. And I don't mean anything like bad by that. Like looking at my first video or my first stream to now, I think there's a huge difference. I think it's night and day. I think it's just kind of doing it consistently that allows to be able to grow that skill set. And so I think it's just something that grows with time. It's not something that I stress about. It's just something that I like try to work on from time to time. I think Leech is the play. I think they skip into a She-Hulk and Infinite here. They could still do some really big stuff. Can we outpower even one She-Hulk? Maybe we don't. Doing the Leech, that would take away their She-Hulk, but then they could have... I guess they could only have like a Titania. Maybe we shouldn't have retreated. They could have had 2 Titanias. Yeah, we may have been fine there. I think your videos are the best. You talk through the gameplay the best and seem like genuinely a nice person. And I tell people this a lot. Like, I'm not a... I guess I don't feel like a... It feels weird to say. I don't feel like a content creator. I feel like just somebody that enjoys the game and enjoys sharing those experiences. And so I think for me, like, trying to flip over into a content creation brain is difficult. So trying to think of like the best shorts to do or the best topics to cover, because it's just, I like sharing like my experiences and what I enjoy about the game. And so I think that's where a lot of the, I don't know, maybe the charm, I don't know a good way to say it, from mine come from, is that it's not necessarily from a content creator perspective, but just somebody that really enjoys Marvel Snap. Sherlock, heading out was cool to catch one of your streams. I'm so glad that you were able to jump over and join us. I'm so glad that you were here, even if it was for a little bit, and hopefully we catch you on the next one. I think I play a couple into Sinister London. So if they funnel all of their power into the Nexus, KPW, thank you so much for the follow. And then Kino, Brizzle for Shizzle, Is It Less? Zombie Go Nom Nom, thank you for the follow as well, and the raid again, if you're still around. And then Arabiata, I think I missed all of those. Thank you guys so much. Pilk Enjoyer, sneaky Twitch stream. Yep, I did just kind of launch it on the side. I don't know. It's still something that I kind of go back and forth with. I would like to be able to... I like pieces of both. I like the stream on YouTube because that's where the audience is. That's where we've grown the audience. But I also like being able to just ad-lib launch a stream and not have to worry about it impacting like a video that just released or is going to release. And so I'm still torn. These are definitely going to be smaller streams, Pilk, but I think it's cool to see too. So we could do they doubled up with Psylocke with the Rocket Raccoon. It could be the She-Hulk Infinite kind of deck. Asgarth, I gift a sub in hopes that it will bribe him to stay on Twitch. It definitely helps Asgarth, but it's also not just about like the monetary either. It's about what's best for like the viewer experience, and I want to make sure that I'm giving the best viewer experience I possibly can. So the double Doc Ock is kind of scary. We did Leech, so they can't do anything else big. We have a pretty big advantage in the left and the right lane. And so from here, we have our Chavez to throw in mid. I don't know. It may be Copium. Okay, no, we're fine. I don't like Twitch. I can't use the emotes. What the ones that we had on YouTube, because I can definitely work on getting those put together. Let's play a few more. Oh no, I'm not rank 894. Rank 89. I've seen location lockdown with Rocket Raccoon. Oh, that's not bad, I guess. With the Rocket Raccoon for that cheap buff. And with the Psylocke, that would make sense. We lost to just making it worse a little bit earlier, right? Yeah, Pilk, I was at rank 95. And then we started experimenting with Ghost, and it was just awful. From there, it just all fell apart. I went from 95 to about 92, and then I switched over to Thanos and lost a couple of like really high stakes games that were really unfortunate. I have 3 Cosmos. How's Ghost? I don't think that Ghost does anything that you couldn't do with efficient play. So being able to draw out priority, you can do that by positioning your cards well. And so I didn't notice it created any strategic advantage. I felt like it was more of a hindrance in most games. Really, you're fine. Yeah, I have three big Cosmos. They are the sweetest puppies. They're great with my son and my daughter, but they shed so much. That's their only fault, is that they shed so much. Girls are okay. Hey, Vicarious. Yeah, they are Great Pyrenees. That's impressive. Just from the small glimpses that you were able to get. All 3 of them are Great Pyrenees. Two are related, and then 1 we rescued. Oh, why did I leech? We're switching hands. Oh, we're bad. We're choking. I guess we could Magneto to pull their card into Mindscape, maybe? I don't know why we leeched. That was the wrong play. I was distracted thinking about our cute pups. We'll go ahead and retreat. I have a 2-year-old Great Pyrenees. Yeah, they are the sweetest, like most laid back dogs. Like my daughter she'll go up and she'll give them big hugs, and she loves them. She loves them, and she's real gentle with them. They're real gentle with her. They make sure not to sit on her, or, bump her over or anything. So they're amazing with her, and yeah, they're the best puppos. Sacrifice your cubes for your Cosmos. Your general practitioner is 2 years old. It might be. I think we'll skip. We could play the Ebony Maw, but I want to see what that last location is. Ooh, the Maria Hill. What if you leech their Infinite? Yeah, but I know that they were running like a Sarah counter style deck or a Sarah tech deck, so they probably had Hawk and some other cards that I just made useless. So the last one we could do. I don't know that it matters where we do it. We could do it into X Mansion, make them think that they've won it. We could always do Claw into Bar Sinister to give us 24 extra power push over there. At the end of the turn. Speaking of Cosmo, your favorite decks at the moment are Valkyrie Control. You use a Thanos one and a non-Thanos one, and they're both so good. Do you think they would benefit from Ghost? Like, I feel like most of the time with Valkyrie Control, you aren't doing high tempo plays anyways. So a lot of times, losing initiative's not really an issue. I'm really bad with Valkyrie Control decks. It's one that it's an archetype that I want to get better with, but I'm definitely not great with them. Yeah, you usually don't have priority. So the Cosmo in the big house is fine. It looks like a Silver Surfer deck. Maybe? Why would they run Maria Hill? Maybe it's just a value deck? I'm gonna go ahead and skip. Sunspot and Ghost. What are they running? Oh, it was created by Maria Hill. I think we double down in Big House. On the last turn, we'll play Claw into Bar Sinister. That should hopefully sneak away this lane. What did we discard? Oh, we discarded Jubilee. That's fine. Oh, Groot was the expansion? Oh, okay. Then it's much more likely a Devil Dino deck. And if so, they can't use Mystique in the big house. I think them using Mystique over there was a mistake. Hob on 5 in mid. That that would be tragic. That would be tragic, Pilk. Don't you wish that on us? I think we should be okay. Maybe we can get an easy 8 cubes. Or maybe we can lose an easy 8 cubes as well. Okay, so the big Devil Dino is not going to be able to do it. We're a little bit under a 50% win rate with the deck itself, but the games that we've been able to win have been big cube games. And Cinelin, I don't know if Cinelin's a person or not. I faced them a couple of times, but I feel like staying for the 8 cubes there may have been, for a normal player, may have been a little bit concerning. They were banking on the Sunspot pushing over the tie. Gotcha. And so that one extra power could have done it had it not been for the extra push from Claw. And Claw, sometimes Claw can sneak out those big. Yeah, no one ever expects the Claw. Just like he's a 10 power push. It's just usually you have a better play line. So whenever he works, he's very specific at what he works with. But a lot of times you can sneak away those cube games. Have I watched the new Ant-Man? I haven't. I'm thinking depending on, so I'm off work on Monday. If my daughter's daycare is open, I think I'm gonna go watch it in theaters on Monday. But until then, I'll have my almost 2-year-old, and she probably wouldn't do great in the theater. But I do really want to watch it. I enjoyed the first couple. Me and my wife actually just finished the other, like catching up on the other Ant-Man. I had watched them before, but she hadn't. And then we watched Wakanda Forever a couple of nights ago. And so we're all caught up there, and it'll be the first time I've been to the theater for quite a while. They have the Quinjet, they have the Sunspot. It could be the Devil Dino build again. And we played Special K a second ago, and they beat us with the Devil Dino, right? Wait, did they come out with a Puss in Boots 2? Majors killed his role as king. Good. I think for me, that's I think that was going to be one of the biggest things. Like that would determine if the movie was like good or not. Was how well he did. Ooh, we're gonna get leeched, aren't we? Yeah, we're about to get leeched. Oh wow, you hear it's actually amazing? Really? Recent Marvel movies are just bad. I like them for what they are. But I think if it was in the time where this like Marvel movies weren't like as big or as common, yeah, I think in general, yeah, I think the recent ones I like them just because I enjoy like that cinematic universe. But if they were standalone, I don't know if they would hold their own merits. So we have the Ebony Maw buff. Everything, but a nerf to everything else. Do we ever play more than one card next turn? I don't think we do. It's not even worth it to use Electro over there. We get more power in the Sunspot just skipping. At least they aren't as bad as the recent Star Wars movies. I actually liked the recent Star Wars movies. I wasn't a big Star Wars Star Wars person until I got with my wife. She's a huge Star Wars buff, and so we sat down and we watched all of them. And then I'm a Harry Potter person, so we sat down and watched all of Harry Potter for her. And then welcome back, Hink. I'm glad you're able to. Hopefully the sports went well. I'm glad you're back. So the Thanos list, they don't have the rotation. The only big strength that they have in mid is that if they throw a big card, they'll take away our double power. But otherwise, I think we're okay. Oh, the Electro shop stops Shang-Chi. But if they do Shang-Chi, I don't think they're able to overtake us in mid. And if they, I think they would rather do Shang-Chi in the throne room if they were going to do it anywhere. You can also say Sasuke. Yeah, that's probably that's probably a little bit easier. Thank you guys for the follows, by the way. We have Uranium Leather, Sir Mikon, Octosco, and Mainland. Thank you guys so much. Oh, we actually do lose. We lose the right lane from the Time Stone. Unfortunate. Had we played left, we would have won that one, but that one would have been a hard read to go with. Marvel movies are all boring variants. I enjoy them, but I know a lot of people are. I think it's just like superhero movie fatigue, just because we have so many now. But I still enjoy them. There is some of the dialogue that's that doesn't feel fantastic. So many Thanos decks on the ladder. Yeah, it's just really strong right now, and so I can't fault them. If I was trying to get to infinite as quickly as possible, I'd be running Thanos or Shuri. Outside of that, I like to experiment with other decks and try to find something that kind of fits in like a niche that hasn't been found yet. So like at the end of last season, like the Shuri Sauron list got me like 60% win rate whenever I was running it, and it was huge. And then Thanos for a little while, but I think people have caught on that Thanos is actually good. Which type of Thanos? I tried a few, but have not liked any. It's a more counter heavy Thanos. So it runs Leech. It runs a lot of like big cards. It runs Blue Marvel for the overall buff. But it doesn't look like it's not one of the Death Wave ones. Not many streamers doing friendly battles. Yeah, I want to do some more friendly battles, but you're also going to do some friendly battles shenanigans. I don't think it's going to be this stream because I will have to jump back over into work here in just a minute. But at some point, I do want to do some more. Whenever, yeah, Claw is going to give a really big value in Limbo. The issue becomes the Onslaught Citadel because we know that they have a Hawk. Well, I assume that they have a Hawk. We don't know it for sure, but I think it's pretty likely. So if they don't drop it early, so if they get greedy and they hold it, oh, our Electro doesn't flip. Oh, that's unfortunate. Well, probably contest Lemuria with the She-Hulk. Yeah, I think so. Especially if this goes into the Moon Girl. Had we been able to do Leech, that would have been beautiful this turn. But I think even still, if they're going to go, well, they can see the Leech coming. It's not as good. Yeah, now the Professor X. I don't think they run Professor X, though. But the Daredevil in like a Zabu Moon Girl double down deck does scare me a little bit. Yeah, I don't think they run the Professor X. But I think they can also play around the Leech play line, which is part of the scary thing. We don't have a much bigger play. I mean, we could just do She-Hulk into Lemuria, and then, I mean, if they have a Shang-Chi, they can take it. And then drop the Claw into the Onslaught Citadel. Oh, we have 2 turns left, right? We have 2 turns left. Maybe we will go Doctor Doom. Yeah, they have priority. So if it is a Professor X for some reason, then we won't be able to outposition them with the Doctor Doom. But I don't put them on a Professor X deck. I think it's just like a value Zabu Moon Girl, maybe a counter deck that also includes Daredevil for some reason. And so there is the Hawk. So we definitely are not going to be able to compete for the Onslaught Citadel lane. So we know that they Moon Girled. They could have additional. They could have 2 Mystiques. They could have the extra Hawk. I think we throw. Well, even throwing Leech into the mix is such a low tempo play that we might be able to win the Limbo location, but we always lose the Onslaught Citadel. They don't get too greedy. They go ahead and play their Mystique. Yeah, I think this one's a retreat. Yeah, Hawk is really good. Even if it's not like as busted as it was before with Zabu, it's still really strong. Because then you can run your disrupt cards and you get just additional value as well. So Claw would give 12 power in mid, and it'd give 7 power in the left. I don't think we win this one though, but it's only one additional cube. If they don't play into the Onslaught Citadel, we have a small chance. They play into all three. Oh, okay. So the Rock Slide is gonna help the Hawk. Okay, we should have retreated. We let the content creator brain take advantage. We're gonna go ahead and jot down our 2 cube loss right now, and then we'll play just a couple more, and then we'll go ahead and jump back over into work mode. But we've made a little progress today. A pretty bad win to loss ratio for the deck, but gladly we've been able to take a couple of big games. Why Jubilee in the deck? Jubilee can help thin it out. You can get some value from it. It's not good all the time. So we both have Sunspot into the middle location. There's not a huge value from armor, but we will go ahead and drop it just in case. It was for science. Yeah, that one was for science. Arin, you're gonna go to sleep. You're gonna go to sleep. Have a great stream. Thank you so much for being here. Hopefully you have a good rest of your night, and hopefully we catch you in one of the streams later on. And so we're gonna be able to get the extra energy from Electro. We can avoid the downside. We get leech value here. They're running Apocalypse, so if we can hit it with leech on turn 5, it's always so satisfying to watch them. And if we have initiative, it's so satisfying to watch them just completely brick their entire hand and discard the whole thing. I think we're gonna run Jubilee here. If we hit leech, that's fine. If we hit Dr. Doom, it's okay. We can't hit it with an Odin, but otherwise it should be fine. I think leech is probably our primary target. Chavez is a good runner-up. Morbius. Into the Wolverine. What else do they have? They have 2 cards left in their hand. We have initiative. No, we don't get. Unfortunately, we don't get the leech. The leech would be so satisfying, because I think a MODOK would probably be coming down next. We're gonna do Dr. Doom, and then now we can do the Odin since we didn't pull it with the Jubilee. So we might still have a chance. There's the MODOK. I wish we would have drawn leech. It's so satisfying against. Yeah, MODOK and leech were the last 2 cards, or MODOK and Apocalypse. And so their Apocalypse is what, 16 power? We just win, right? We should have snapped whenever we realized it was a discard deck and we had the ability to go wide. We should have snapped on that one just to squeeze out 1 additional cube. Lex, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate it. Let's do one more. I'm gonna do one more, and then we'll head out for the day. But I might do, depending on what I get done with editing wise, we might do some later night streams. But I will be streaming more consistently, and I want to test it out over here for a while. Why were you still getting the Electro animation? It's a bug. So once he's like flipped back into the deck or destroyed, it's always the one more for me. Yeah, yeah, that's where I get in trouble. It's 1 more for 3 hours. But the Electro animation, it's just a bug. It's just something that's there. And so you can actually still play around it, but it's just it just looks like you can't. Yeah, it happens with Sandman as well. So since there's already the built-in armor in Wakanda, actually no, just in case they Reality Stone to try to do like a Killmonger, I'm still gonna go with the armor into the left lane. because it could be a death wave variation of the Thanos build. Thanos is really running rampant in the high ranks. Yeah, it's bad. It's like every game, or like it's probably closer to like 30 or 40% of the games, but it's a big it's a big percentage of them. We could do Electro. That would allow us to do a Doctor Doom on 5 and then maybe an Odin, or we could do Jubilee. If that pulls into Ebony Maw right away, that's not great, but Leech should be fine. But yeah, and it's kind of like the Shuri decks. The Shuri decks ran rampant for a little while. Then people started figuring out how to counter it with like an arrow, and then those kind of died off, and then this took its spot. And so I don't expect it to be forever. It's just until someone finds a way to like very efficiently counter it. We do get the Ebony Maw into middle, which is bad because now we can't fill it up entirely. Oh, that's rough. That is the 1 out of 4 that 1 out of 5 that we could not have pulled. Well, yeah, Doom Odin would be the only chance, but we didn't ramp, so we can't do Dr. Doom early. Oh no, this is bad. Yeah, we can't. We can't. We don't have a ramp. They didn't snap into it either. The claw would be good, but we can only use it in the left or the right lane. So we would still lose middle by like 100. I don't think we ever win this one. But I am running pretty far behind, so I will have to make that the last one. I like to end on a win, but today we're going to end on a low note. But overall, we are positive with the Electro ramp deck against the Thanos army. As they said, he is inevitable.
Oh, snap.
It was a win. Yeah, the deck itself was a win. Thank you so much, Narco, for the follow. Fun to catch a stream. I'm so glad you were able to jump over and join us. Thank you guys for being here. Q sniping is harder these days. It is. Catch you offline a lot. Yeah, I play a lot offline. I'm probably addicted to Marvel Snap. I can't. I'll be tired of it, and I'm like, I need to do something else. And then I find like 30 minutes later, I'm like, I'll just queue up for a game. But thank you guys for being here. I am going to stream over here for maybe the next week or so and just kind of get a feel for how it goes. And so definitely make sure to follow if you're enjoying this. And I will catch you guys in the next stream. I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. And this has been TLSG. Later, guys.